All right, America, welcome back to Third String Podcast. It is Sunday night, about 9:30 Central Time. In case you've been living under a rock, the Eagles won the Super Bowl 52, 41-33 in incredible fashion less than 20 minutes ago. And we have Zach Crippen on the horn here. So Zach, your Eagles are Super Bowl champions. What's going through your mind right now, buddy?
Dude, I honestly I can't even quite put it into words. First of all, great game. Some scary swings at the end there, and I cannot recall another time in my life where I have gone from like being so down to being so high minutes later. And now obviously I'm just in this state of euphoria, this sports-induced euphoria, the likes of which I've never really felt before. I mean, as a Phillies fan, 2008 was pretty good, but the Phillies haven't been good lately, and none of my other teams have been very good. It's been a rough go of it for Penn State. And yeah, the Eagles, I mean, nobody believed all year, and this was just so much fun to watch them go and watch them overcome so much adversity, and then leading to tonight. And it wasn't just taking down an AFC team, it was taking down the evil empire, right? The Sith Lord, Tom Brady, and his ilk. And I mean, I think it just would have been so much worse to have lost to the Patriots in this way. But the fact that we won, and I'm saying we because I'm a part of this victory just as much as Nick Foles.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, it's just amazing, man. I love it. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and we can do more sort of breakdown of the game later. But rapid reacts. This was a great game. It was a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, I mean that Nick Foles showed up in a big way. That's my number one takeaway from this game. We were wondering what Nick Foles were we going to get. People have called him the highest variance quarterback in the NFL. I think that's true. I've done some charting of his QBR variance just in his 4 years of starts, and there's a lot of variance there. But this Nick Foles that we get in the postseason is apparently the only consistent Nick Foles we have, and he showed up in a big way tonight. Outplayed Tom Brady. I mean, he threw the one pick, but that really wasn't his fault. That was Jeffrey's fault for tipping it up. And he did an amazing job. So, man, it was great. I think it was 28 of 43 for well over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns to the one pick. He looked like the better quarterback tonight, I thought. I don't know what your thoughts are, but this was a great game, one for the ages. That Ertz catch, though, to put the Eagles ahead for the final time, a 5-yard pass from Nick Foles where Ertz caught it and then took like 3 steps and then dove into the end zone. There was talk about whether or not that would stand because of the similar Jesse James Steelers tight end play, and I don't know, what was that, week 12 or so, the regular season. And I was texting you when this happened. It was totally a catch, and I said the same thing about Jesse James back then. I mean, the NFL needs to change this catch rule, but I'm really glad that went in the Eagles' favor, because if that had not, that would have just been robbery right there, and it would have been a terrible way to potentially lose that game. So super happy about that. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'll kick it back to you. Did you have fun watching this game? Probably not as much fun as I did, but I know you're at least rooting against the Patriots. So
Yeah, I absolutely was. I think if you're a fan of football, this was a great Super Bowl. I thought the commercials were pretty lackluster from start to finish. So I think it was one of those, if you weren't into the game, this was probably boring. But if you enjoy the game of football, what a fantastic game. We had over 1,000 yards of offense. We had an incredible first half, back and forth, couple missed field goals, couple missed extra points, which you think is a recipe for disaster, especially in a dome stadium. I mean, when do you ever see that happen? But man, it was a lot of fun. Not a lot of turnovers. I thought the officiating crew did a phenomenal job. There weren't a lot of flags. The flags that were thrown, I thought, were very legitimate. It was just a fun game, especially for a game that went about 3.5, call it closer to 3:45. It was a longer game than you'd like to see, but it was exciting the entire time. There was so much offense. It wasn't this one-sided affair. It was back and forth the entire time. Dude, I had a great game. I have been so down on the NFL this year from start to finish. It was a lot of fun this year to watch it all come together with this game. And I'll be honest, I normally hate the Super Bowl halftime shows. I even thought Justin Timberlake did a great job. I really enjoyed this from start to finish. Not as much as you did, but what a great game overall.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think your point about the officiating is spot on too. This crew, what is it, Gene? How do you pronounce his last name? Stedatore or something like that.
Yeah, Steratore. Yeah.
He's one of the the more sort of flag heavy crews. His is one of the more flag heavy crews in the league, and so people were anticipating a lot of flags being flown. But it was just nice that they let him play. I mean, there was a lot of contact, and sometimes I as an Eagles fan would be going like, "Hey, where's the PI flag? You had your hands all over my receiver." But I'd much rather have that be the case than just everyone moving up and down the field because of penalty flags. So it was a lot more fun to watch in that way too. So totally agree with that. A lot of offense in this
So
game. I know that the total yards by the end of the third quarter had eclipsed all each of the previous Super Bowls. So set a Super Bowl record for total yards by the end of the third quarter, which was pretty impressive. It was just a lot of fun to watch. It was also agonizing as an Eagles fan when we had no answer for these deep crossing routes over the middle of the field, and Brady would be connecting with his receivers, and like Amendola's wide open, and Hogan's wide open, or Gronk's wide open. I'm like, where is our secondary right now? Where are you guys? But I mean, I guess we bent just enough, didn't break. We took a line out of the Patriots playbook in that regard.
yeah, so Nick Foles, obviously our NFL MVP for the Super Bowl, which I think was incredibly well deserved. You and I both wrote about it, not only on Medium, but we talked about in the pod
Yeah.
that this game was going to live and die with Nick Foles. But kind of walk me through your overall impressions of that offense. Was it all Nick Foles? Did something surprise you on another side, or was it just a great overall team win right there? What were the keys to success, I guess, is what I'm looking for. I just enjoyed watching the game. What were your impressions as an Eagles fan?
Yeah, great question. I really think you saw what was really a balanced effort all around. I mean, you have one, Nick Foles putting throws where he needs to, when he needs to. You have two, Nick Foles not getting sacked. He didn't get sacked a single time in this whole game because of the offensive line. And it's not like the Patriots have this really formidable defensive line, but I mean, you have our left tackle trying to hold back James Harrison in some cases when Harrison's kind of trying to come across the front, and they did that. They did that really well. So lots of unsung heroes there. I mean, Stefan Wisniewski, who's on our offensive line, he had to step out with look like maybe like a pulled quad or something, but he came back in for the next series. I mean, these guys are out there grinding the whole time. And then we saw a really balanced rushing attack. I mean, you saw our undrafted free agent that we picked up in the offseason, Corey Clement from Wisconsin. He's a man. Just drags guys with him. He did really well. LeGarrette Blount did not do well at the end of the game when we really needed him to pick up a first down and grind the clock. But earlier in the game, he had some big runs and broke free for at least one really big run that I think was 30-plus yards. Jay Ajayi, he didn't. I don't remember any giant runs that he had, but he definitely picked up some key first downs for us. So a good balanced attack in the running game, and I think Doug Peterson did a good job with play calling with that and just mixing up the backs because each of our backs offer something different. I mean, LeGarrette Blount's the guy who can run you over like a Mack truck. Corey Clement can burn you on as a pass catching back, and he's a pretty good blocking back. And then Jay Ajayi has one of the best cutting abilities in football. And then on the receiving side too, Alshon Jeffrey came down with a couple of really big throws. He also had that one interception that I thought was totally his fault, but I'm not faulting him for that. He was trying to make a play on the ball. It just was unlucky.
I was going to ask you. You made that comment earlier, so. Is that really anyone's fault, or was that just a bad bounce? I thought that was set up to be an incredible catch by Alshon Jeffrey, who I was rooting for to be my MVP.
Yeah.
Just because I thought he'd be your standout player. But was that just a bad bounce, or was that actually a bad play, you think?
No. I mean, yeah, I didn't mean to point fingers at Jeffrey. I think it was just, unlucky. But it definitely wasn't Foles' fault. I mean, it's like it. I guess what I was saying is it goes on Foles' stat line as an interception. It just goes on Jeffrey's as a maybe a drop pass, but it was more Jeffrey's fault than Foles, but not a bad play by any means. Just an almost awesome play gone wrong. But then Torrey Smith, another guy who had a few big catches tonight. And then Aguilar, super shifty all over the field. He had some very impressive missed tackles, fought for some key first downs. I thought we did a really good job balancing out the attack. I thought on the defensive side of the ball, we didn't do nearly as well as I had expected. I mean, I predicted a 31-10 score, which is obviously overly optimistic, wishful thinking. But I have to say the defense did show up when we needed them to. And even though that formidable defensive line that everyone talked about, including me, didn't show up all game, they were there at the very end when Brandon Graham forced a strip sack and Derek Barnett recovered, and that all but sealed it for the Eagles. So all around, I think a really good really good balanced effort. Special teams didn't come up with anything spectacular, but they didn't do any big mistakes, which is really often all you can ask for on special teams. So really good. I mean, I thought Doug Peterson's play calling also spectacular. Early in the game when he decided to go for it instead of kicking the sure field goal. That ended up being a game changer, I think. Kept a lot of the momentum going in the Eagles' favor. Really a bold call. And when he made it, the announcers were like, wait, is he going for this? Are they keeping the offense out on the field? And yeah, they were. So that was
Al
pretty
Michaels
cool.
lost his mind there.
Yeah, he really did. But I mean, it wasn't surprising to those of us who have followed the team closely this year, because that's Peterson's MO. He's not going to give up. He's going to be relentless. He's going to be aggressive. And I think it was then that I texted you, Pete, and I said, this is how you beat the Patriots. You don't do the Doug Marrone thing, right? Where, we have 55 seconds left in the first half. We got a 10-point lead. Let's just kind of kneel it out. We'll play it safe. No, I mean, Peterson's saying, we're not going to take the field goal here. It'd be pretty easy 3 points, but we're going to go for it because we know that they're coming for us. And it's a good thing he did, because the Patriots ended up obviously going ahead by 1, but then the Eagles could take it back. So, lots of big moments, lots of exciting stuff. Great game. I'm super happy. First Super Bowl ever in Philadelphia history. This is a great night.
Yeah, you and I talked about multiple times. You play to win the game, right? So final stats: Foles 373 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Tom Brady, Super Bowl record, 505 yards, 3 touchdowns. Both teams combined for a Super Bowl record of 1,151 yards overall. Incredible night. So, Zach, I'm going to ask you, what's the bigger play? Nick Foles catching a pass for a touchdown, or the forced fumble sack on Tom Brady back there in the end of the fourth quarter to kind of seal the deal, even though not officially? What was the bigger standout to you?
I think it's gotta be the strip sack, the Brandon Graham strip sack of Brady. I mean, the Foles moment was great, and that was the aggression that I was talking about. That was when Doug Peterson said, we're going to go for it. We're not going to do the field goal. We're going to go for this 4th down play, and not just any 4th down play. We're going to have an end around to our 3rd string tight end, Trey Burton, and then we're going to have him pass to our quarterback for a touchdown. And that was awesome, but I think just you have to give it to the strip sack because of the moment. Right, the stakes that were there. We had less than 2 minutes left in the game. Strip sack there pretty much ends it. So I mean, huge moment. I think you have to go with that just because of the situation. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Though watching Nick Foles catch that pass, especially after Tom Brady dropped that other one.
Oh,
granted, I am not as much of a Tom Brady hater as others, but it was a little feeling of vindication right there. So
totally.
As an NFC East guy, it kind of pains me to watch another NFC East team win the Super Bowl. But dude, I couldn't be happier for you. It took a lot for me to root for the Eagles, but I'm really happy for you, buddy. Congratulations on a huge win, not just for the Eagles, but I feel like for the NFL in terms of how they want to do business. This has been a big year for the NFL, good and bad. I think this is a big moment for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good night for Goodell overall. And I think you should be a little bit happier because this makes your Redskins look good, and that you guys played 2 pretty close games with us this year, and shows that the NFC East is actually a pretty tough conference. I mean, having the Redskins and Dallas in our division is not easy, and the same goes for the Giants most of the time. Not when McAdoo's leading them, but historically. So I don't know. I think this is a good thing for the division. I think you can be happy about that as a Redskins fan, and we'll see what happens next year. You guys have the fearless Alex Smith coming in, so we'll see what happens. I'll see you next year, Pete.
Yeah, I can't wait, buddy. It's been a pleasure talking NFL with you this year, and let's look ahead to some college basketball and some baseball coming up. What do you say?
Let's do it, man. Hey, you have a good night. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go celebrate.
Good. Have fun.
All right, man.